Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth video of the most practical Facebook ads series which you will ever see. Now, in the last video we talked about the Facebook ads basics and it was the most important video in this series. So if you are someone who has not watched this video, please go back and watch that particular video. That was the most important video of this series, and we talked about Facebook ads in a way in which no one has ever described earlier, and we also discussed about the 5 basic points of the Facebook ads. Now from this video onwards we are going to actually tell you what exactly and how exactly we are going to apply these particular steps to your client's business. Now let us begin with this video. Now in this video we'll talk about the first point, which is we should know who we are selling to. Now defining your audience is really very important. You cannot expect a person to buy dog food if he does not have a dog, and for that thing you have to know who is the kind of person who owns a dog, and we have to get to know about that particular thing by seeing his activity and by seeing his interest, by monitoring his activities on Facebook. And this is how we actually find out the cream of our audience. And in this video we are going to talk about how exactly do we do that. Now without wasting any time, let us try and create one of the sample campaigns. So we'll go and create, and again we are going to tell you that this is going to be a practical videos, so we are not going to talk about how to use this Facebook ads interface. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and we also have our own video which is introduction to Facebook ads, wherein we talk about the basics of everything. We are going to link that particular video in the comment section, so or in the bio. You can watch that particular video to get to know about the basic interface. So let us select any of the objectives. To begin with, we'll select brand awareness as an objective. Now we have to define our audience depending upon business. So if you are a company who is into food, or if you are a company who is into travel industry or who is into education industry, you have to know your audience and you have to define that particular audience. Now let us take an example about someone in the education industry. So let's name the campaign as new campaign, let it be as it is. Let us go click on the next, and ad set is the place wherein we are going to define everything. So this is all about the schedule. Now here comes the actually defining of your audience. So if you are someone who is having some local business, then of course you are going to select a local area. But if you are someone who is into an online niche and who can provide the services or products to the entire country, then India would be the best proper thing to select for you. If you are someone who want to show your business awareness, you want to export something, you want to show your business advertisements to other countries, then you can select that particular country. So depending upon the kind of business which you have and the kind of results which you want to achieve, you are going to select the location. So if you are a coaching institute who wants to have its brand awareness increase in the local area, then maybe you can put out the name of your local city. So let me put Kolhapur here. So I'll start with Kolhapur. So now I'm going to advertise my particular business in this particular area only. But now if you want to cover the entire India, you can cover the entire India. So if you want to advertise locally, then select your location accordingly. So for the moment let us take entire India, and once you have defined the location, then comes the age factor. Now depending upon the business, you'll define the age. So if you are someone into the coaching industry, then you'll practically target two types of people. First is actually students, so you'll target somewhere from 15 to, let us say, 22 would be a good age to target to students. And you would also like to target the parents of these particular students. So you're going to show advertisements to two people. First is actual student and second is the parent of that particular student. So in this way you can define your ages. Then comes the gender part, which is quite obvious, male, female, depending upon your business again. And here is the cream of targeting, which is the detailed targeting option. Now this particular option is going to give you everything, and if you know how to use this particular option well, then you can define your audience up to any extent, because it consists of the demographics first of all, which is education, what is the financial. Now the financial thing does not apply in India. So what about the some of the life events, if they are parents, what is the relationship, what is the work. So these are all the general demographic things about a person, and we are going to get all this information, and we can use this particular information to target the person. Next comes the interest. Now this is very crucial. Now monitoring the person's activity on Facebook, that particular person has been categorized into some particular interest, and this is the signals which that particular person has given to Facebook based upon his behavior. So what kind of things he's buying, what kind of pages he's interacting with, what kind of videos is he watching. So everything is monitored, and based upon that, that particular person is categorized into that particular thing, and we as an advertiser can directly target that particular person. So that may be depending upon the industry, advertising, agriculture, architecture, anything that can be of entertainment, food and drink. Now you can go into this and you can literally target anything using Facebook ads, literally anything. Then comes the behaviors. Now this behavior is what kind of behavior is that particular person showing. So is he using Facebook mostly on mobile phone? What kind of things that particular person has? So is he interested in politics? What about his purchase behavior? Is he interested in travel? So there are certain behaviors which certain kind of person shows to people. So first of all is the demographic of a person, because if you are someone who wants to show the advertisement of a dating app, then you are not going to show that particular ad to 60-year-old guy, because not a lot of 60-year-old guys would be interested in dating right now. So that would be somewhere around 18 to 30 or 32 or 35 would be a age wherein a lot of people would be interested in dating. So that is the place where the demographic thing comes into picture. Second thing, depending upon interest, so you cannot show advertisement of an irrelevant thing to a person. So if someone is going to show me an advertisement upon football tomorrow, then I don't care about football, so I'm not going to react to that particular advertisement. Then comes the behavior, whether I am that kind of person who has that certain behavior, because let us take my example. I'm not that kind of person who purchases e-commerce products directly by seeing advertisements on Facebook, so I don't exhibit that behavior. So now I'm not at all going to be shown ads about some e-commerce products. I'm not a shopaholic guy, but now I'm a kind of person who likes to buy courses. So now my Facebook newsfeed is completely going to be filled of those particular advertisements about my behaviors. So these three things are really very, very important. So you have to segment your particular audience according to his demographics, according to his interest, and according to his behaviors. Now depending upon the type of business you have, these things will vary. Let us consider you want to advertisement about your music classes. So the first thing would be search about music. That would be the broadest possible interest, which is music. But here is one crucial factor which you should understand. Don't target obvious interest. Like there are millions and millions of people who are interested in music, but that does not mean that particular person would like to learn music, right? So there is a difference between a person having an interest in particular activity and a person willing to learn that particular activity. Now let us take another example. Now if you want to sell some cricket related stuff, and if you target Sachin Tendulkar, so that does not mean that all the people who like Sachin Tendulkar are going to be interested in playing cricket or buying cricket equipments or joining cricket classes, because Sachin Tendulkar is a very, very, very big brand. So there would be a lot of people who would be associated with that particular brand without even wanting to, or without even be willing to play cricket. So don't target these obvious things, but target something which only lesser people or people actually interested in that particular industry would know. So let us relate that particular thing with marketing. Now Gary Vaynerchuk is an international brand, so not every person who is associated with Gary V would definitely want to be or be interested in marketing. But Seth Godin is a person who is related to marketing, and he is not as big brand as compared to Gary Vaynerchuk, but people who are interested in Seth Godin would be really interested in marketing, because he's an hardcore marketing guy. Or a lot of people who don't know about David Ogilvy because he's a marketing guy. So you have to target the not so obvious people so that you get the cream of audience. Targeting Gary Vaynerchuk does not guarantee you all the people who are interested in marketing, but targeting Seth Godin would give you those people who are actually interested in marketing. So the general advice or the general thing which you should follow is don't target the obvious. Don't target Sachin Tendulkar if you are trying to sell cricket stuff. target the less known things, target the less known things which actual cream audience would know, and that is something which is very deep. But in 90% of cases you don't have to go in that deep, because generally you can directly type out the thing which you want or which you are interested in. Now when we go on music, we can go and click on the suggestions and we'll get into art and music, music festivals, concerts, pop music, popular music, musician. Now musician would be a good interest to target. Now people who are generally interested in musicians would be wanting or be willing to be a musician. So now here would be another good example. So they are singer or a songwriter. So these are the kind of interests. So you have to be really very selective in targeting things. Now musical instrument would be another good thing, because a person who is interested in some musical instrument, that means he would be also willing to learn that particular musical instrument. And if you spend some time in defining your target audience, then it would be really easy for you, because there is no point in showing irrelevant ads to person. So even if you have a great offer, even if you have a great landing page, you have a great video, but if you are going to place them in front of wrong audience, then they are not going to convert at all. So we have to spend just some time. Now this is a one-time process. We have to understand what kind of people we want to target in, and then we have to actually target these people. For any business, this is just a one-time process. Once you have defined your audience according to Facebook once, then you can going to use this audience again and again. Now not all of this audience is going to convert. Maybe musical instrument is going to convert, or singer or songwriter is not going to convert, or maybe two of these are not going to convert, the third is going to convert. So you have to test out this particular thing. So it is important to form audience, it is important to test audience, and you have to continuously keep on trying these things. So you have to first of all do the research once and start testing this audience one by one. Maybe 2 audiences are going to fail, maybe 3 audiences are going to fail, but you are going to find that particular cream of audience of about 10 lakh or 20 lakh who is going to convert like anything. So you have to be very clear in defining your audience, and there are hundreds and thousands of ways of defining audience. So some people, they go very deep, they try and define the magazines, they try and define their hobbies, they just do anything. They try and get the most prominent figure in the industry they are trying to get on into. So if you are into gymming industry, then you are trying to find some gym icon, or you are going to follow some gym magazine. So people get really very deep, and it entirely depends upon you how much deep you are willing to go. So we as an agency, we don't go that deep. We generally try and cover the basic stuff, right? And then this has worked really very well for us. But one important thing, have some big audience for Facebook. Don't define your interest or narrow your interest so much that you are not going to have anything for Facebook. That is, you cannot go and you can tell Facebook very specifically. Now let me give you an example. Now there is this option called as narrow audience. So people who are interested in this and who are also interested in, let us say, okay, let us say Arjit Singh would be someone. I'm not quite sure why this is not popping out. Okay, I'm not able to find Arjit Singh. So let us search for some other singers. So yeah, so Vishal Dadlani is a singer, so we can see this. So now we have told Facebook to find people who are interested in musical instrument, who are musicians, who are interested in musicians, and also are interested in Vishal Dadlani. Now this is a very small audience, so you're going to target only 30,000 people. Now this is a very bad audience to start with. You have to find audience which is at least 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. So 500,000 to million, this is the kind of audience you should be looking for. So don't make that audience too narrow that Facebook won't have or won't be able to run its analysis. Now another important thing which we mentioned in the last video is that Facebook is going to help us tremendously in this. So trust Facebook. So do your effort, then trust Facebook, and then you are going to get great results. So first of all, do your effort, but don't try to dig so deep that Facebook won't be able to do anything from his or her side. So let Facebook do its work, because Facebook is going to help us tremendously in this thing. So define your audience and then start working. 5 lakh to 10 lakh would be a good audience to start with. Then comes the basic part about narrow audience, then you can exclude this particular audience. So these kind of things, they are very obvious, and we are not going to target these things. So you can include someone, you can exclude someone, you can select the languages. Now language is also a very good factor which is included. So you can target some people, you know, speaking some specific language. So in this case I can target someone speaking only Marathi out of this. So that would be only 6,70,000 people. So these are the quite obvious things. Now there comes the placement part, and we are going to go into the placement and other things in the later part of this series, but we want to tell you to be absolute clear in defining your audience. Now let us just revisit whatever we have seen in this video. The first thing is, obviously, whenever you are defining the audience, you have to know about their demographics, their interest, and then their behaviors. You have to be absolutely sure about location. If you are a local business, then location is very important for you. Age factor is obvious, gender is obvious. Then in the detailed targeting, you have to make sure that you are targeting not a big brand. Like targeting Sachin Tendulkar for cricket would be too bad thing to do. So you have to target not so obvious people or not so obvious things. And another important thing is to keep your audience size as big as possible. For 5 lakh to 10 lakh would be a good audience size to start with. And then you can follow all the things. You can use this platform because there are very obvious things which you can do on this platform, which is you can narrow the audience, you can exclude someone, you can use the language preferences. Now all these things you can do depending upon your thinking. So there are no fixed rules, but it is important to define the audience. You hope that you got a lot of value from this video. In the next video we are going to talk about the second step, which is we should be knowing about your traffic temperature. Now if you are a business and if you want us to run the advertisements for you, that may be Facebook ads, Google ads, or if you want us to make ad copies, landing pages, or creatives, then click on the link in the bio, or you can just call on the number, and we would be really very happy to work with you. That is pretty much it from this video. See you in the next one.